Today we are doing something we've never done before. I've got together your guys' top most requested smartphones, and together we're going to unlock each one using the fingerprint scanner 100 times, and we're going to see which device can do it fastest. So we've got the standard top tier flagships you're all probably familiar with, but also the new Vivo NEX S, which uses an in-display fingerprint scanner. So it'll be interesting to see how this impacts its performance. Now, the test we're about to do is about more than just how fast the fingerprint scanner can scan your finger. This test will also help us see many of the other different facets when it comes to the overall experience of unlocking your device. For example, how easy or hard it is to actually land your finger on the scanner, or something as simple as the number of times it makes errors. We're going to get some answers. Okay, so initially there's a lot to see here. This test might seem a little bit overwhelming, but let's break it down and see what's actually happening. So on the far left, we've got the Samsung Galaxy S9 Plus, a smartphone which has the fingerprint scanner mounted on the back in the middle of the device. And it's fairly easy to reach for. Your finger naturally rests on place, but you'll notice the opening animation after you unlock it is not the snappiest of the bunch. Taking a step to the right, you can see the Vivo NEX S with its in-display fingerprint scanner is by far the slowest. The numbers underneath each device indicate how many successful unlocks we've had, and the Vivo NEX S this early on in the test is trailing way behind. And the problem is threefold. Because the fingerprint scanner uses the display in this phone, the company has had to find a way to save power. So when the phone is stationary or relatively motionless, you have to turn the screen on before being able to press your thumb into it. You might have also noticed that the error rate is higher. I get falsely accused of having used the wrong finger more times than I'd like to. And also, it is a very specific point on the display you have to touch. If you're even slightly below it or slightly to the side, you've essentially missed the scanner, and therefore it takes a little bit longer. Compare that then to the center phone, which is the Huawei P20 Pro. This device has its fingerprint scanner in a very similar location to the NEX S, but it's just this is on the bottom of the device rather than in the display. But you can see quite clearly that this makes the process faster. I would say though that while the P20 Pro's fingerprint scanner is fast, it's not the most pleasant to use. Because the sensor is flush, it is basically completely flat with the rest of the front of the phone, you can't feel for it with your hands alone. You have to actually look at the home button to check you've pressed it. Not the case with a lot of the other devices here. Now, skipping the OnePlus 6 for a second, you might notice the iPhone has nearly finished the 100 unlocks. Your hand is naturally guided into place, and the Touch ID is very, very fast. And in the end, this is the first phone to finish. Okay, OnePlus 6, which feels very similar to unlock to the S9 Plus, in that the fingerprint scanner is in not only almost exactly the same position, but is also the exact same shape. But the OnePlus is just faster. You can see now that 4 of the 5 devices here have very nearly finished. The iPhone X, the OnePlus 6, the Huawei P20 Pro, and the S9 Plus. And really, it is just the Vivo NEX S with its in-display fingerprint scanner that is lagging behind. And the reason I've done 100 tests here is to remove anomalies, to make sure that the result you get is indicative of real-world performance. So yeah, to give you an idea, the NEX S to unlock is about 70 to 75% the speed of the S9 Plus, and even slower compared to the others. And to many people's surprise, it's not actually because the scanning time itself is longer, it's the other things. It's the other aspects of having an in-display fingerprint scanner that cause the inconvenience. Alright, you probably know the order that the phones came in, but the actual finishing times were as follows. The iPhone 8 Plus won the test with 2 minutes and 17 seconds. This was really impressive, quite a bit better than I thought it was going to do. This was followed, not too closely though, by the OnePlus 6 with 2 minutes and 38. The interesting thing here was that the processing time between these two phones seemed almost identical. The time taken for the phone to understand and verify the finger was pretty similar. The only difference was that the OnePlus seems to have this delay between scanning the finger and turning on the display. The iPhone's was more instantaneous. Huawei's P20 Pro followed very closely afterwards, just 5 seconds later, at 2 minutes and 43. So this was pretty middle-of-the-line fingerprint scanner performance. Nothing exceptional, nothing that's going to blow you away, but easily fast enough to remain relevant. The Samsung Galaxy S9 Plus was then in 4th place, which on one hand isn't the best, but on the other hand, these 4 phones so far are pretty closely bunched together. And it's really the Vivo NEX S in 5th place that raises some cause for concern. The in-display fingerprint scanner is a very cool feature. It's the kind of thing that gets great reactions when you show people, but this test is very indicative of the fact that it's not quite there yet. It absolutely works, but I think given an option on a practical level, I'd probably pick having the fingerprint scanner on the rear of the phone. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you found the video useful, and if you did, be sure to smash that subscribe button down below. It would really help me out. My name is Aaron, this is Mr. Who's the Boss, and I'm signing out.